in accordance with Government Code Chapter 551, State of Texas Open Meetings Act. We move to a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We now move on to item 4, public participation. Do we have anyone who wishes to address the board?
No, sir.
Before we move on, if there is no objection from any of the board members, I would like to move item 6. No, I'd like to move item 6E to executive session, because we have some questions that we'd like to ask, and then we'll come back out and officially take a vote. Is there any objections from the board? No, okay, so item 6C, we'll be discussing executive session before we take a vote. We now move on to item 5A, but before we turn it over to Dr. Pitts, I would like to hear from our superintendent, Dr. Martinez.
Good morning, board, or good afternoon, board president, board members, members of the public, and the administration here present today. First of all, I would like to thank everyone for continuing to support the work that we are doing here in Kingsville ISD. We are busy preparing for the beginning of the school year, which, as you know, begins on Monday, August 24th. That is the first day of school for all students. But most importantly, I would like to formally introduce some new members to our leadership team. And as I call you, can you please come forward to meet the board? I would like to start with our high school principal, who was introduced last time, but I would like to introduce him once more. Marcus Graham, Darius Robertson. Sorry. High school principal. Sorry. Next, I would like to introduce the Harvey Elementary Principal, Miss Michelle Carroll. Next, I would like to introduce our Gillette Middle School Principal, Dr. Melissa Oliva. I would like to introduce also Assistant Principal for the high school and a known and familiar face, Miss Rebecca Perkins.
Congratulations.
Next, I would like to introduce Assistant Principal for the high school, Ms. Todd Albro. She's a great man.
What's the very much always a good. Thank you so much.
And next, I would like to introduce formally our Director of Communications, Engagement, and Development, Ms. Michelle Morris. Sorry, Nicole Morris. And that concludes my comments for today. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Okay, we'll now move on to item 5A, H.M. King High School dome repair discussion. Dr. Pitts.
Test. Thank you, President Ruiz, Dr. Martinez, members of the board. At the domes, there are several issues, the biggest ones being the HVAC system, the humidity in there, also the foundation as well too, which is leading to other issues, namely one of them being the floor there. The total cost, estimated cost ahead of time is $1,455,000 to fix everything. We received $1.1 million from the lawsuit, but that $1,455,000 is an estimate. They will not know exactly how much it's going to cost until two things. Number one, we do the investigative work to see exactly what the scope of the issue is. And two, then we go out for bids and we see what price we're going to get to actually do that work. If the board wanted to move forward with this project, the investigative phase would cost about $112,000, which would be covered completely by the lawsuit fee. But again, there's no guarantee that the cost will come in under that $1,455,000 until we see exactly what the extent of the issue is. If the board elects to do that, there will be three primary vendors that would be used for that investigative stage. One of them would be, first of all, a commissioning report that would be done at this time, where they would look at the HVAC equipment again, evaluate the moisture, make sure they identify which machines are working well and which possible things need to be replaced, whether that be units or whether that be ductwork. So that would be one of the vendors that would need to be hired. A second vendor to be hired would be one that works on the foundation. They would have to take samples in several different spots of the gym floors and drill down and see what's underneath there and see what the issue is, so that when they replace the floor, they don't have a similar problem to what they do right now. The third vendor would be a project manager, and the project manager, they would be our advocate during this process. They would help us with choosing the other two, going out and getting bids for the other two consultants. And then when the entire project is done, they would analyze the data and they would bring to the board solutions of how we can best solve the issue once the issue has been identified. And each possible solution, kind of like the drainage repairs, they would bring different solutions. I believe for the drainage repairs, it was close to 10 different solutions, and they would tell you how much each one's estimated to cost and what the return on the investment, what percentage of the issue each one of those would solve, and that would be the project manager. So If the board decides to go that route, then when, after the investigative stage, we would bring all the information to the board of what was identified and potential solutions. But then at that time, we would have to go out for bids for a project manager, because the project manager for the full phase would be over our procurement value, and we would then have to go out for bids for the architect and construction of the phase. At the beginning, since everything would be under $50,000 projected for each of the three vendors, we would not need to go out for formal bids at this time, just for the investigative stage. I'll take any questions you might have.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So on here, you have investigation consultant 65,000, but it's double that?
Okay, so the consultants would be 65,000, but then the project manager would be about 49,000 for the investigative part. So it would be both of those together. So project management for the whole phase would be 235,000, but if we broke it up and just did the investigative stage, out of that 235,000, it would only be 49,000 for the investigative part.
So I'm not sure I understand. So investigation consultants do one thing, and then the project management actually does the actual test? Or?
So the investigative consultants are the two that I talked about. One that is going to test all the HVAC equipment and the humidity and see what's wrong with that system. And then the other one would be the one that does the floor samples, that takes the floor samples from both domes, drills down, sees what the foundation is like, and gets that information. Then the other part would be the project manager. And again, the project manager, not only would they take care of helping to organize all of these consultants and make sure that when they're there that they are doing what we need them to do, but then when they are all done with that, they will be the one that is analyzing all the data, and they will be the one that puts together the different solutions, brings them to the board, and presents them to the board.
So what is the total that you're asking for right now?
For right now, it would be the 65,000 for investigative consultants, and it's 49,000 and change for the project manager. So we're talking $114,200.
So do you have it written anywhere? I mean, because the way it looks.
Yeah, you're right, because that's for the whole project. But I wanted them to break down, I wanted the project managers to break down what their fee was just for the investigative part.
Somewhere in this building, when I was there, they had structural engineers, electrical engineers, also they pop the thumbs up. So my question is, they did a whole evaluation of that place shortly after we opened up. And there's a whole folder of information somewhere in this building, of findings from each one of those departments, each one of those engineers.
Okay, and I think that's probably the original commissioning report that we can look for. To be clear, tonight, we're not asking for anything. This is just information tonight. If the board so desires, we can bring something in 2 weeks for approval for the investigative part, if that's the direction that the board wants to go in.
I'd like to know detail on what they're gonna have to go through the floor, no way yet.
You're right, there's no.
Big
Right.
core samples and all that.
Yes, sir.
So more than likely, it's gonna probably be, water samples. Because I don't know what else to push up the floor.
Uh-huh.
So the thing about it is, I wanna know who these guys are, and when they built these homes, I think the guys that built them, that was their first big job. So we need to know who we're hiring, and we need a hell of a lot of references, so we don't get mismatched. A whole bunch of, I wanna know where they work, and we can do calling too. Take their word for it, and then we call them.
So the proposal, and again, if the board has different direction, that's perfectly fine. So the proposal is to use the same project manager for the investigative part as we did for the for the drainage repairs. So they did a very good job of managing the project. They advocated for our needs. The other option is to start going around for quotes for a project manager for the investigative part.
Dr. Pitts, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, when we received the 1.1 million,
Yes.
what was it for?
It was for repairs for dome construction
Just in general?
in general.
And they didn't specify what area, or was it the roof? Was it the foundation? Was it the
They-
HVAC? What was that 1.1 million for?
All of the above. They identified many different issues. Some of them were the foundation, some of them were the HVAC and the humidity. So we are, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mannix, but we are able to use that money for any of the repairs for those domes.
Yes, members of the Board of Trustees, good evening. So the monies is for all damages or deficiencies identified in the reports and in the pleadings of the lawsuit. And the monies is a lump sum to satisfy all claims contemplated in that lawsuit. So they can be utilized for anything recognized at the time or any damages found afterward.
You know what, and I know the last time we spoke about this, but it's really disappointing that this money was received years ago and nothing was done.
I don't want to sound ugly to Dr. Pitts, but I don't trust you, okay? Because you've lied to this board before. So I think we would have known if there was really damage with the structure. I don't think the structure is moving. I think the basketball court what caused that was the HVAC that's what I think we were approached with with all the lawsuits that were going on before. It was just, I remember just roof and HVAC. I don't remember anything about flooring, about grounding or anything like that. I could be wrong, but I like to have that in paper, and I'll stand up here again and tell you, Dr. Pitts, I'm sorry, I was wrong, but I just don't trust you. So I'd like to have that documentation, like Mr. Mireles was saying, of what was done during that evaluation.
You're talking about which evaluation, the initial?
Well, the initial, whatever was found, the reason us getting that 1 point.
Oh, the lawsuit?
Yeah.
The lawsuit. Okay. Yes, we actually have the report that we can.
I'd like to see that, though. I don't want to just hear it.
Absolutely. So from here, we're asking for, again, this is no voting or approval. We're asking for direction from the board of where you want us to go next.
I think the board would agree. We would like to see the results of that initial report before we make any initial steps. I mean, is that what I'm hearing from the board? Before we make any kind of decisions, so we can have that documentation provided to us. Let us read through it, evaluate it, and then see, what we're gonna allow for the next step.
Sir?
I just have a comment. Looking at the numbers, Dr. Pitts, project management, investigation, consultants, design, that's almost $400,000. That's almost half of what we got from the litigation. The actual construction is gonna be $1 million. So in other words, are we looking at the district is gonna be putting $455,000? We did receive 1.1 from litigation.
So close to $355,000, yes. Yes, sir. But that's only if they don't find anything additional once they do the investigative work.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the board? All right, thank you, Dr. Pitts. We move on to new business, item 6A, discussion and possible action regarding the KISD RFP for new kitchen equipment and turnkey installation at Clayburg Elementary School. Dr. Pitts.
Thank you very much. So you're aware that we are opening up the
the kitchen over at Claver with the new facility. It does need new kitchen equipment. We did go out for bids for kitchen equipment and we received them. Again, we received them after the board packet had already been sent out. So we sent out the rubric that was used, and Gene's Restaurant Supply was the one selected. I'll take any questions that the board, oh, and this will be by food service funds. That's paid for. I'll take any questions that the board has.
Was that equipment taken out?
It hasn't been yet. Part of the bid is that the company is going to take the equipment out, and if the board approves it tonight, we have that tomorrow. They're going to remove the equipment so we can make sure everything's ready for them to start going. But it will, the only thing that may not be completed by the time school starts would be the sink. It is a custom sink that has to kind of be built by itself, but everything else, but the sink that's there is usable right now, at least in the meantime. But that may be, it may be maybe the week before school comes that we get that sink, but everything else should be done pretty well before school starts.
Yeah, and this turnkey job also, they going to check, gas lines, electrical, water lines.
Ductwork, everything, yes, everything all inclusive.
All right, thank you.
Dr. Pitts, is this gonna be stoves, refrigerators, coolers, or what exactly are we replacing?
So we're replacing coolers, we're replacing basically refrigerators, we're replacing ovens, and we're replacing serving lines. That where it keeps it warm and the kids come through. So those three things, but then also all of the extra that goes along with it. For instance, they're going to have to test the electrical to make sure that works. There's one I missed, a vent hood. The vent hood, they're going to have to make sure that the HVAC and duct work is conducive to all of that. So that's what we're replacing all that equipment, but again, turnkey, they're doing all the background stuff as well too, to make sure that equipment is operating safely.
Was there any equipment that was stored at Memorial that could be used out there?
Not at Memorial, no,
Well, we were using Memorial as a storage,
yes.
so I know there was a lot of equipment that was stored there. Is there anything there? I don't even know what's in there, but
There are a couple of things in Harrell and Pettis that can be used, but nothing still in Memorial. We kind of scavenged that at that time and used anything that was usable for any of our other kitchens.
So you may have answered my question, but I was gonna ask about Bettis and Harold. We've gone in there and looked to see if any of the items you listed.
We're gonna, yes, we're gonna use, one of the coolers at Harvey is gonna need another cooler, and possibly Gillette as well too. But we do need new ovens, we do need the vent hoods, and this will all be covered by food service funds, so it won't affect the general fund at all.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to accept the administration recommendation for KISD new kitchen equipment and turnkey installation at Clayburgh Elementary School?
so moved.
Motion made by David Garcia,
I'll second.
second by Delma Salinas. By roll call vote, Joe Mireles,
Yes.
Ryan Kufal, Martin Chapa,
Yes.
David Garcia,
Yes.
Jacob Perez,
Yes.
Delma Salinas,
Yes,
and Joseph Reese, yes. Motion carries 6-0. We now move on to item 6B, discussion and possible action regarding purchases of over $50,000 for the 25-26 fiscal year. Again, Dr. Pitts.
Thank you, President Ruiz. So you see that I did pass out a revised version. There's one more item on there. So I just finished getting some of the bids. There's one more bid that I still need to get for the roofing repairs. So we had a storm that damaged the, if you look at the Fine Arts Building, the area between the band hall and between the gym, that area there, that lower lying area right there, it kind of has locker rooms in there and hallways and so on right there. That area, about a quarter of the roof has been damaged. And we went right to the insurance company, and the insurance company is still getting back to us on their initial analysis, but we really want to move forward with this because we want to get this done before school starts, and it can be done before school starts. So the good news is the district, no matter what the cost is, the final cost, right now the closest bid is $267,000, but there's one more bid we're waiting for. Regardless of what the final cost is, in the end, we're only going to pay the $100,000 insurance deductible. And that $100,000 insurance deductible, we budget that in the budget every year in case something like this happens. We add it to our property insurance bucket. Now, if we had two of these in 1 year, we don't budget for that. We budget for one of them. So the good news is we plan for this in a sense. We're not going to be able to make up that $100,000 like we are usually every year. We budget for it and we usually don't have to use it. But in this case, we would get reimbursed. We would have to pay the full amount up front, and then the insurance company would reimburse us everything except for our deductible. Now, the caveat is, so I should have that last quote by tomorrow. Then the next part of the process is the roofer, the selected roofer, works with the insurance company, and they basically haggle with each other over exactly what the extent of repairs needs to be done. In this case, we're proposing an entirely new roof. The roof is old. There's underlying damage underneath. There's kind of underneath the top layer, there's some floating concrete that has been damaged as well too. And we don't believe it can be repaired, but that's something that I believe the insurance company will agree with us. I pushed them to finally give us an answer by tonight. They don't have an answer for us yet, but what we're requesting from the board is permission to move forward with this whole process, which would be number one, to select the roofer, and number two, to start the process with the collaboration with the roofing company and insurance. And then projected, it will be done before school starts. 3 to 4 weeks is the projection for it to be completely done for us to get that roof up and running. So that now, right now, we did have a roofing consultant take a look at it to make sure that it was structurally sound to enter the building, and that is the case. So we do still have it kind of blocked off there, but there's no danger to enter the building, but we would really want to get it fixed before the school year starts. I'll take any questions.
No?
I do, Mr. President. For the software, Dr. Garcia, is that pretty much, you need anything else that we're needing for this upcoming year? I just want to give you that opportunity to speak up a little bit.
Good afternoon, Board President, Dr. Martinez, and members of the board. Yes, so this is one of the renewals that is coming up in this month. We will have several probably coming up in the next budget cycle in September. This one happens to be our backup software. This is where we back up all of our servers, and it also comes with a ransomware insurance in case someone does hack into our system, and they will help us through the process in recovering our data and things like that. So, thank you.
And then that other vendor there, so we had a vendor that we brought to the board before that is unable to complete the services for the rest of the year, and we need another vendor that we currently use to step in. So we're asking the board to increase the limit for Monica Johnson so she can complete those student evaluations.
So it's not essentially another 78,000, we
No.
already approved some.
Right, I
It's
believe,
increasing.
right, I think to the board, it was already approved at 55 or something like that before. So it's to finish the summer evaluations that the other contractor is unable to complete.
Any more questions from the board? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept the administration's recommendation for purchases of over 50,000 for the 25-26 fiscal year?
So moved.
Motion made by Jake Perez,
I'll second.
second by Delma Salinas. Roll call vote, Joe Mireles,
Yes.
Martin Chapa,
Yes.
David Garcia,
Yes.
Jacob Perez,
Yes.
Delma Salinas,
Yes.
and Joseph Reese, yes. Motion carries 6-0. We're skipping item 6C, we will now move on to item 6D. Discussion and possible action regarding the 2026-2027 adaptive education, early childhood and school psychologist, LSSP stipends. Dr. Pitts.
Thank you, President Reese. So let me start with the first stipend. That one is a current stipend. The one for the adaptive ed teachers and early childhood teachers, again, clerical error, it was originally brought to the board for 4,000, but it was 6,000 last year. The reason for that is that those are very difficult positions to fill. The classroom teachers for adaptive education and early childhood. Now, the other one is a new stipend for LSSP. Every year we pay contracted services of a couple $100,000 for different types of evaluations. As you know, we brought a lot of them to the school board. If we are able to hire a school psychologist, that will, in the long run, reduce the amount of money that we're going to have to pay for professional services. We project that in order to do that, we will also need to offer a stipend. The main reason why is because they can make a lot of money for contracted services, and unless we're able to compete, school districts are having a hard time to get their own LSSPs. I'll take any questions that you have.
Any questions from the board? All right, do I hear a motion to accept the administration's recommendation for the 26-27 adaptive education early childhood school psychologist LSSP stipends? Motion made by Martin Chapa, second by Delma Salinas. By roll call vote, Joe Mireles.
Yes.
Martin Chapa.
Yes.
David Garcia.
Yes.
Jacob Perez.
Yes.
Delma Salinas.
Yes.
And Joseph Reese, yes. Motion carries 6-0. We now move on to item 7, closed session. The board will now enter into closed session in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 55.071 and 551.074, to deliberate and consider the following. Item 6C, discussion and possible action regarding the district ARD administration and school psychologist. Item 7A, consider and deliberate regarding the resignation/retirement of contracted employees. Item 7B, consider and deliberate regarding the employment of contracted employees. And item 7C, discussion and consider and deliberate with legal counsel regarding pending litigation and personnel matters. No action will be taken until the board returns to open session. The board is now entering in closed session at 6:06 p.m. Turning to open session where the board may take action on any discussed item during closed session that is appropriate for consideration in open session. The time is 7:43 p.m. We move to, back to item 6C. Do we have a motion to accept administration's recommendation for district ARD administrator and school psychologist, LSSP?
So moved.
Motion made by David Garcia,
I'll second.
second by Joe Mireles. By roll call vote, Joe Mireles.
Yes.
Martin Chapa.
Yes.
David Garcia.
Yes.
Jacob Perez.
Yes.
Elma Salinas.
Yes.
And Joseph Reese, yes. Motion carries 6-0. We now move on to item 8A, discussion and possible action regarding the resignation / retirement of contracted employees. Is there a motion to accept the resignation / retirement of contracted employees?
So moved.
Motion made by Delma Salinas. Second by Joe Mireles. By roll call vote, Joe Mireles.
Yes.
Martin Chapa.
Yes.
David Garcia.
Yes.
Jacob Perez.
Yes.
Delma Salinas.
Yes.
And Joseph Reese, yes. Motion carries 6-0. We, now item 8B, discussion possible action regarding the employment of contracted personnel. Is there a motion to accept administration's recommendation on the employment of contracted personnel?
So moved.
Motion made by Delma Salinas,
Second.
second by Jake Perez. Roll call vote, Joe Mireles.
Yes.
Martin Chapa.
Yes.
David Garcia.
No.
Jacob Perez.
Yes.
Elma Salinas.
Yes.
And Joseph Reese, yes. Motion carries 5-1. Now, item 8C, do we have a motion to approve recommendation from General Counsel to,
Or a settlement as discussed in executive session.
is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Martin Chapa. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Jake Perez. By roll call vote, Joe Mireles.
Yes.
Martin Chapa.
Yes.
David Garcia.
Yes.
Jacob Perez.
Yes.
Delma Salinas.
Yes.
And Joseph Reese, yes. Motion carries 6-0. There being no further action, I do hereby adjourn this special meeting at, the time is 7:46 p.m.